proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, Season 3, Episode 35. Connor, we're back after the summer break and ready to talk rallying once again.
Absolutely, yes, and it's all systems go.
Yeah, so before we start, do the usual, please like, share, subscribe, make a huge difference, and thank you all so much for the kind words and all there over the break. It's been gratefully appreciated. Back at it again, and rally season hadn't really gone quiet. There was like plenty going on, but we suppose we needed a break too. So we look back now at Finland, the latest round of the WRC. But you know, last weekend was closer to home. We had Cork Forestry, and we catch up with Jason Mitchell and Niall McGonigle from it, and also then the Grampian, the latest round of the BRC. You get an opportunity to speak to William Creighton, and then also speaking of Finland, you spoke to Josh McErlean and Eamonn. And then finally, the Tarmac Championship is back this weekend, and we're at the penultimate round of that, the Ulster. That's looking really exciting there as well too, so we'll look forward to that and preview that. But yeah, Cork Forestry. We keep saying that the Irish forestry is coming back, and it's been resurgent. Last weekend really proved that, Connor.
Yeah, it did, and I suppose I was quite intrigued with the speeds and the times. Now, you know, when you look at the tarmac in the national championship the last couple of years, and we've seen how far the R5s have come and how competitive they've got, and really starting to see that and feel that now in the forestry, I think.
That's for sure. Yeah, you know, like there's so many guys now. There's like 5 or 6 guys all there, and they're getting to the stage now. They're going to be battling for tenths of seconds and all now too as well. It's absolutely fascinating to see. Jason Mitch was just delighted to get back onto the gravel again too. Niall McGonigle, an older man he's done so little rallying, but most of it's on gravel as well. And like Derek Michael, another young guy coming up through, setting really fantastic times. Great to see as well too is Ryan Caldwell back in the hot seat again. Just hadn't a great day on Sunday there, but we can see last year what Ryan can do. The white cess space, like Jordan Hone, Vivian Hamill, the list goes on. There's so many guys that's there, all going there to win. It's turned into a really fascinating championship.
It is, and it's that combination of the regulars plus our mix of our newbies coming in there as well that are really getting into the mix. And again, you mentioned Niall McGonigle. Okay, Niall's been around for a while, but as you say, not that many events under his belt this year, but the times are there when he is in the car.
Yeah, like it's just a natural talent. There's no doubt about it, And then we speak of when we're talking to them. We talk about the business, IN Sport himself and Isaac Bell, only going a short time, but phenomenal what they've done too, which is great to see initiatives like that and things going really well for people.
Yeah, it is. And look, that's it. We need excitement. We need interest. We need people to invest their time, their energy, and their money into this sport. And it is great to see when there is new initiatives, and it does capture people's imaginations.
Yeah, because it's bringing the sport to a new level. We always used to say Bertie Fisher took the Irish Rally into a different professional level. Nesbitt come along and took it to another level, and it's continually initiative. Donald Kelly. Whenever he was at his plum, he was brought the rally into another level, and it keeps developing, and it's great to see that preparation companies, everybody's striving always to do better.
Yeah, and look, it pushes everybody else on, and then everybody else is achieving or aiming to achieve better, and to be that bit extra competitive, and they're all benchmarking themselves against and we saw when Craig stepped back and did the ITRC for the year, everybody else wanted to benchmark themselves against Craig Breen, and everybody pushed themselves up further on. And now look, when we look at where we're at, and then the speeds and the competitiveness and the times that are there, and it's just fantastic to see that. The more people invest their energy into this sport, a rising tide lifts all boats, and we really do see that.
That's for sure. With Keith Cronin here this year, Matt Edwards, two guys that would, grace any, WRC round. And they're not running away with it. We have our guys that's able to stick with them and push them really hard. Like Callum Devine, 2-1 under his belt. Like Josh, yes, he's not completely settled in the sitter, but he's never far away. And Desi Henry, another guy that on his day can be as quick as any of them. And as you say, the talent and the levels just going up and up and up.
Yeah, that's it. So we just want more of this, please.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Cork Forestry the weekend, I think, we'll get back to it. I'll catch up with Jason and Niall. They finished first and second, and, the crack between them is just brilliant. So I think you'll enjoy this. The rally season kicked back off again here in Ireland at the weekend, and Jason Mitchell, you took the one in Cork Forestry. What an event and what a one you had.
Yeah, Kevin, look, I suppose I'm delighted to get the one, to tell you the truth, but it didn't come easy either, which makes it better, I think. Not that any one would come easy, but, I've, like, the big man really put it up to me there and Sunday, and we had to really let her go there to try and get it over the line. So, no, it was great to get it. Great, we have it a few, I suppose, like a Dava last year, and we had a few, Carlos, Branton, a couple of wee events, but it's nice there to get, the Cork, the Cork Forestry over. And one of the things that caught my eye last year, Kevin, was the cup, sort of great cup, the Jim Walsh Cup, and it looks nearly like the FA Cup, so it does. So I took a real, when you look at something and you take a shine at it and you say, I'd love to get that. So, no, we got it, Kevin, and really happy to get, this one over the line, especially when you're in a fight, with Niall and you. I felt it all day that, I said to myself, I didn't really know where the thing was going to end up, because I was going on a wee bit unknown to myself where I really was in gravel again, and I was trying to find myself on there too, and my timing was a bit off at the start, and I didn't know if it was me or the car, and I was struggling even in the first stage, to hear Paddy, because I was fighting with the car that much, nothing wrong with the car, but just it did feel very loose, but I didn't know, was that just gravel, or was that me, or was it, the tyre, or was it the car, you know what I mean? But I suppose I just went on the service again and settled myself and said, look, no, we'll change nothing. We'll try and get out on a bit of grip and see where we are, and just sort of try to work away. And if I be honest, after the first stage, I looked at the time and I said, just 3 or 4s, was probably, I'd have been content enough, but I was 7 or 8 down in the first one. I went, over 13k or whatever it was. I said, that's nearly too much, but I didn't really, I didn't feel like I could go much harder at that stage, and I just I hadn't calibrated again back to gravel really, but no, hey, look, I suppose as the day unfolded, and Niall there, had his overshoot there, which sort of let us in without, while we were still calibrating, I would say, but let us back in again there, so thanks, Niall.
But now that is the thing now. That's the level that Irish rallying's at. The forestry, tarmac, no matter where you go, no matter what event you take part in, you can't even an overshoot is the difference now. And you lost probably not even 10 seconds where you had the wee overshoot.
That's it, yeah. I think we lost on around 12 or 13 seconds, but it doesn't matter now. If you go out of the line, even go on the loose, you've 3 or 4 seconds gone in a flash now, It's just, you don't really believe that until it happens to you.
Yes.
And then you can see where it's at, but you talk about the cup there. I have a video I would love to show it to you on if Mitchell with the cup now, but I wouldn't do it on how much it means to him, Kevin, but we'll not go on that again.
But now, you have been round rallying since forever now at this stage. And this is a real golden era. We've all talked about the world cars and the glory days and all. These days now, the competition is so tight. We'll look back now in 10 years' time and say, Jesus, that was fantastic, and it must be great for you to be part of this now as well, not just competing but also as preparation as well.
Oh, everywhere. As Martin Cairns actually said to me yesterday morning, he looked around and he seen us all standing. And he just said, "This is your dream." And that's right. Whenever I was 8 or 9 or 6 rolling about rallies following my brother at the start, I was a dream to be fighting to even do a rally, never mind the fighting to win a rally. So any day you can get in and close the door one of them yokes and head for a stage, you have to be happy, regardless where you're at in the rally. But to be fighting for a win is unbelievable. And especially with somebody like Jason, like me. You might believe me and Jason's good friends now over the past 4 or 5 years. And, we speak every day, like, and to be fighting for one of a rally with one of your best friends, it's something else. Really, it really is.
Like a name you mentioned there, Martin Cairns. Like I've known you now for 12, 15 years, and like Martin was one of those guys that helped you along the way. VSM, all those different people that you tagged along with, helped out. Kenny McKinstry, all those guys. You learn from the best.
No doubt about it. Hey, I run with Martin for 10, 15 years. Like went to every rally in the country in England and everywhere with him. And as you say, even Paul Fanning, the likes of the boys in time, Aidan Ray was there. I'd have been there and testing with Donny Kelly and with McMorcombe and McKinstry, and it all, I keep telling Mitchell I've won at rallies, but he says you're about to all your life. He says you're there every day. That's true. Like you do be picking up wee things here and there, and it all goes into the stories, doesn't it?
Yeah, because like at the end of the stages yesterday, I don't know where I've looked back at the footage with Killian and Andy. Like Martin was asking, how's it going there now? Who was fastest? Was it Martin or Jason or who was fastest? And the admiration on his face whenever suddenly these guys were taking 25, 30 seconds a stage out of him, and it's like, yeah, like that. They knew how hard they were going to be able to do that. Like it's just mind blowing.
Well, that even. I'm just watching a few of the videos back this evening. Even David Condell one time, he just put his hands up. He said, "I don't know what's going on." Like the pace is absolutely nuts. Me and Jason spoke about it on the phone earlier today. You're going around corners and you're saying to yourself, "How did we ever get around that?" Hey, that's where it's at, and that's what you have to be doing. You have a good feeling in the car, and you feel like the thing's hungry, and that's when you just have to go on, and go ahead with it.
Yeah, because Jason, we have spoken about this before. You have to have complete faith in everything below you. What's coming from your co-driver, what the tires is doing, the input you're putting in that steering wheel. I think it's everything. There's no margin for error at all.
No, and Kevin, I know everybody says this. Every day is learning day. But like, in a rally car, and so it is. Because even like. One of my big downfalls would be, I get into the car and I drive it, and I don't really, I struggle sometimes to work it out because, I think I know what I'm doing, and then I head a direction, and then no, it's not that direction. I just felt better in that one wee bit, and then I've lost it somewhere else. And even tires, like tires is another one, and Sunday I learned a lot. Even what I was at with the tires, and gravel, because somebody say to me, what tire are you going on? I was sitting there, I was looking at it, geez, there's other plenty of grips on it, it'll be dead on, I'm not really getting into the fine detail, but like I found, and I know, like in the first lip it was very hard, and because like it was a lot. It was very loose, which surprised me, especially the first stage. Really, really sort of threw me a bit, but it was very loose. But you see, when we got into the battle there near the end, like I couldn't believe the difference, when I changed that on the harder tire and how more direct I was able to be. I was able to keep the car. I was just touching the brake and just keeping her in that clean line and keeping her going forward. And it was the tire was letting me to do that. And there's one particular part where we were, I think, Niall, I can't remember, where was that place I was telling you we were going through the gate? Was that the second last stage or the last stage? Second last stage? Was it, Niall?
Stage, yeah.
Second last stage where there's a bit going up through the gate, like, and the first time we went up through that stage, like I went round, there was like and my notes was like fast as I had a 4 left plus, and it was like, I know, 40 and 4 right through a gate. And I come round the 4 left plus, and Jagers only got on round the gate, so I had to bang her down the gear and she broke away a lot on me. And this next time I went up around it, because we knew that second last stage, I had to wake up, I had to go for it because I knew the big man. I was even unsure if I could hold him back, but I says, if I'm going to do anything, I have to do it now. And I remember going around that corner and going, the car just sat perfectly in the middle of the road. I would say I went up through the gate 15 mile an hour faster, and the car just sat in the middle of the road. I was able to stay in fifth gear and the whole way up the hill, and that was pretty early on the stage. And I says, no, we're in the right place now. We tire here, and I was able to keep a toe on her then, the whole way through. I just after that was one of them moments where you sort of learned to know a wee thing, and you said, yeah, there's a corner that proved that we had the car, the tire, we had it all right here now. So just do not be making a mistake here and keep her lit, So that was really it, Kevin,
Yeah. And now, that's the thing that just blows me away now with the R5 cars and just rallying in general. Like, different tyres, different chassis, different crews, everything. And, you can come out of a stage and there's 0.1 or 0.2 of a second between you. Like, it's just how many variables there is that all channel into that 0.1 of a second.
Oh, exactly, yeah. And, there could be 4 different drivers for the same cars, but they could have 4 completely different setups. And so, the type of the R5 now really has to be dialed into the man that's in the seat. Years ago, you could have got a man to go in and set up an Evo for you, and everybody jump in and say, geez, that's a great joke now. But R5, it's probably dialed into the driver nowadays, because there's that many different things you can do with preloads and ramps and diffs and plates and all the different valves and the dampers, and there's just that much stuff you can change. That's pretty good for a driver setup that way.
And you're involved in all that now, and is that something you get a real kick out of? Is tailored to a driver's needs?
Oh, it is. Like I suppose back in the Evo days, I would have had a fair idea of what we were doing, but you wouldn't have been thinking about it as much because you were just that bound to get into the open. You were that lucky to go and do a rally. But now you kind of take it a wee bit more serious because you want to be at the top. But yesterday I was staying away with the car. I had to do quite a few changes yesterday again just to get it perfect. I didn't think the rally was going to be as choppy and bumpy as it was. But them big polos, Michelson, sure that they do everything themselves. So they're nearly like an active.
Oh, Kevin, do you hear that?
I know.
Do you hear, Kevin?
But it really says, Jason, how good the Polo is. Like, that's the car that was produced in 2017-18, and it's still every bit as competitive now as the latest Rally 2 car, that the 2023-24 Fiesta.
Yeah, that's just, Kevin, and I'll tell you the truth, Kevin, and the big man will vouch for it here. I went and tested, and what day did we test, Niall? Tuesday, and Kevin sent the dampers away to get done up, and whatever way Kevin set the dampers before we went to the test, we went round, and I didn't do very much of the test, to be honest. I went round out the lag for a few runs and try to just get the feel of the car moving again, and just try and get a general feel of gravel again. And I think I done a couple of runs with Dan, a couple of runs with Keelan, and with the lag on, and I come in and they said, do you want to change anything? I said, no point, because I don't know. Everything feels grand, felt comfortable enough. We went to rally and I never touched the car once, never even. And when I was trying to learn how to work this all out, I was changing the way of the car to try and find, even the wrong places, never mind the right places. But the Polo just, as Niall says, she just drives herself there. And you point her to the finish line there, and you just tell her to go, and away she goes. All cutting aside, but now look, hi Kevin, look, as you say, the Polo's 27 or 2018, we're running around an old car there, against them boys and your cars. But look, hi Kevin, I would have to say, I get the polo on gravel. I think that, and no doubt the polo's an unreal car on the tarmac, but I haven't totally got the polo on tarmac. I think, I think on tarmac, I think the polo, I shouldn't even saying this because I'm probably wrong on this, but I think the polo on tarmac is a go-kart, more of a go-kart car. Do you know what I mean? And because I like gravel and like movement, I'm not sure that I think if I go at it next year, I think and I'm still on the polo, I think that I will change. The boys will be delighted to hear, but I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change the way that car's set up. So I'm gonna. Me and Paddy spoke about it on the way home yesterday evening. So we did, and that says, there's a window. There's a window on gravel. There's a window on tarmac where the car moves obviously far more on gravel, but there's a window, a wee control window where you feel the car moving so much. You feel the car moving so much, but you still know you're in control. And how big that window is how fast you can normally go, because that lets you go to the limit. And that's the bit that we're all trying to find. If that window's very small, that slowly eats away at your confidence, you know what I mean, and the car, because you try to break into that window and then the car does something that you don't like, and then you have to come off again. And I find like that's on tarmac, I find that window is too small. I either feel like I'm getting there and then I get either life scared out of me or go off the road. You know what I mean? So I think that's something that in the polo anyway, that I think that window's very small, and we're gonna have to try and find a way of making that bigger to make me try and get my pace up to where I want it to be, on tarmac.
But Niall, that is the thing with somebody like Jason there. He is so determined to prove himself, and like his pace on gravel, there's no question he is as quick as anybody, and it's just unlocking that, and it's only like a very small percentage. It's probably only 2, maybe even 3% that is away, but that drives there to get that to find that extra percent or two.
Definitely plenty of energy there, Kevin.
Yeah.
Very much. Man's man, they get going forward all the time. It's great to see, and people have to understand there's a lot of money being spent. So, if you the determination not there, well, you shouldn't be at the job, because you're only wasting money, I suppose. I know there's people out there for fun as well, but when some people's on it for competition, you have to be determined to win, and if you're not, then your concentration lacks and everybody around you falls apart. So, it's just keeping everybody, the morale up and everybody, and keeping them all interested. And Jason can definitely do that, anyway, that's for sure.
And IN Sport has been going not even 2 years, only 18 months now at this stage, and the results you have achieved in that short time, absolutely just staggering. Like, even over the last month, I won Loch, and then yesterday I won 2 for the team. Brilliant. You have to be delighted the way things is going there.
As you know, when we spoke about it earlier, it's stuff a dream for me, Kevin. Yeah. I've been helping all these boys all my life, and it was always a dream to have my own thing and have my own team. And now I have it, and it's happening. We're actually winning rallies, and we're, as you say, yesterday I won 2, and me being on the podium as well, along with it. I can't ask for much more, to be honest. Everything's working out pretty well, and we have, with all the boys there that's interested, and they're as interested as I am. They're doing the work, and that's what it takes to make a winning team.
Yeah, and even I noticed something there yesterday at the finish as well too. Was Aidan Ray was there? Like, he had jumped in his car, drove all the way to Cork to support you guys. That just speaks volumes to me about how much of a team this, how much of a family affair really it is. That everybody's all pulling in the one direction.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, me and Aidan's family since we were 2 years of age. I was his best man at his wedding, and Aidan and Jason have grew to be friends through rallying. Like, seeing no different to me and Jason, but everybody sticks together, and we're all, there's no secrets. Like, everybody talks to each other what they're doing. What are you thinking of tires, or what are you doing? If it's going to rain or whatever. And hey, it's great. Everybody should be like that. It should be a family environment, and that's what it's all about.
Because Jason, from your point of view, like having them people to talk to, you know, as you say, you don't exactly know why, you know, what's different from this tire, and it's great to have them people that be tell you this is the tire you need and this is why you need to do it as well.
Yeah, no, in fairness, Kevin, and you know, even since Niall started rallying himself there now, you know, you can sort of see, you know, to be fair to him, you know, how, like, you know, Niall, you know, if he would lose a few pound there and he would get a Motorsport Ireland contract there, I genuinely think Niall's the ultimate professional when it comes to, you know, like as 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 love for the sport, number one, but as knowledge of the sport, you know, I think, like, you know, not only is Niall a quality driver, he's got the knowledge to back it up, and the commitment. You know, I could really see there how much commitment Niall puts into trying to go fast like it does. It is, you know, even to the point where I'm coming away going, I'm not putting in enough effort, you know, and that's not taking anything away from Niall by saying that. It's taking away myself saying, you know, I'm maybe just not doing enough here, you know, because I find, you know, between like, you know, and sometimes it is effort. Maybe in the notes, you know, I find it hard spending loads of time in the notes, but maybe even, you know, when I'm, you know, testing, you know, I want to change stuff, but then, you know, because you're unsure. Whereas when I see Niall, when he goes testing there, like he just changes it, he goes with it, you know, he follows through with it, you know, and he comes away and, you know, he obviously, you know, goes home with it and works it out, and he tries something the next day, he goes and he changes a spring, you know, and the sort of stuff that I'm sort of looking at and going, you know, I don't really do that, you know, maybe that's, you know, that's something that I need to look into going forward, you know, to see. And I suppose having the big man there to in the background there and going over this, you know, sort of definitely helps. And, you know, even gravel now as well, you know, because sometimes, I suppose, I'm not taking away from anybody, but it is hard sometimes for a driver to listen to a mechanic, you know, like, and I hate saying that, you know, but like sometimes you're sitting going like, how the hell would you know what this car is doing? Do you know what I mean? And you not on her or ever on one? Do you know what I mean? And like, to be fair, like, you know, and that's not, and you know, that's dangerous for me to be saying that, but you know, like sometimes, you know, you're sort of going, you know, it's nice. It's like a coach that has played a sport. Do you know what I mean? You know, to telling you, look, hey, you need to go this road here because this happens, or you know, you felt that. So I think, you know, to be fair to the big man there, he's completely into the sport. I think he eats, sleeps, breathes it every minute of the day. And you know, when he went rallying himself, he's done everything that he preached to us. Do you know what I mean? So fair play to him, Kevin, on that side of things.
Because if he can turn around and say to you, you know, if you change this, this won't happen. Yeah. You know that he's done that. He's got that from experience rather than from a book. Maybe again, that maybe.
Yeah, I seen him at it himself. Do you know what I mean? So.
But he didn't take my advice. Last 2 stages and put on them real hard tires.
Oh, don't you worry, big man. I took off them ones I had in the silage pit there. I took them off.
And I suppose before we go any further, we should really pay, you know, like Cork Motor Club, the event they put on, fantastic event, Jason. Like as you say, the cup was, you know, the stuff of boyhood dreams, but they put on great stages there for you as well.
Oh, Kevin, funny how Cork in general, like from I was a youngster, as I said, yeah, a water ski, like, and I won my first Irish water ski championship down in Cork and Dripsy, so that, and even when I went to West Cork, even when I went off on one of my first international rallies, and that, you know, like even the people pushed me the whole way down the road to get off the slip lane, you know, and Cork in general, I just like, you know, there's something about it, but the stages, even at the end of the rally, we had a wee drama on the road on the way in, and like even they're all, you know, so helpful for us, you know, helpful to us, and like it was just a small thing, but you know, you just could feel that, you know, everybody tries to help you down there. Ken, doesn't matter where, you know, should you be in the road section or on a stage or you know, just in service. So no, it's definitely, and I suppose I suppose too, what I need to mention as well is the McGonigle, because McGonigle's had a good weekend. So that
Yes.
Patricia and they had their 40th anniversary, and I think their daughter won the St Catherine's band. The St Catherine's band, Kelly Beggs, won something as well. Now we've got Paddy a one as well. So I think we have to give them a shout out here as well. So
Because Patricia and then your aunt as well, Ruth, are two of your biggest fans. You know they.
No, not a rally goes past what we see them looking like. So we have to give them a shout out too, you know, because Ruth as well, like they follow us everywhere we go. So
that's for sure. And Niall, I'm saying you'd want to speak about Cork as well too. Like, you know, everybody to a crew come the end of them, especially the last two stages. Like Sid, phenomenal, probably some of the best stages in the country.
Without a doubt, Kevin. But one of the things that was very evidential down there, a lot of competitors in the club. You can see it when you're on the stage, you know what I mean? Or even with things been running the rally. Greg McCarthy, sure, he's there this year, he's rallied himself and Evos and Turbos. He just knows what to do and when to do it, you know, that sort of way. And that's evidential when you're at the rally, you know, and that helps. Even for a service crew to land the rally, makes a big difference when things are organised properly. And nobody really sees that because they're just watching the rally, you know. But there's a lot of things that has to be done. As we've spoke a long time ago, we run a rally. I suppose when I'm looking at it from them, when we put them glasses on, it's you know, you're picking faults all the time, but to run a rally is not a simple thing, and they put on a good rally. And then the last group of stages was something you probably, as Jason said to me earlier on, there's a piece on stage, the second last stage, it was like Finland. You could see the whole road in front of you, and it was all flat out stuff, you know. And it was amazing.
And that's the days you live for in the rally car.
Exactly, and you're on with Paddy. Paddy sat with me 3 or 4 times in the Lakelands, and I think it was stage 5 whenever I took 3 or 4 seconds out of Jason and Paddy. He came down to me at the service and he just opened the door. I knew you would love that stage, so he said.
And he come back up and says to me, "Don't you let that big man beat you."
So, Jason, we're getting into the gravel scene. You know, like it's the gravel season now. You know, we have the Lakeland, Dava, and, you know, and the big one coming up now. So, where next now?
So, Kevin, I think Dava will be next for us. Hopefully, Kevin. I suppose the one thing, and you know, for me, Kevin and Dava, I think I'll be one on the door because I won that one last year. And I think one big thing that another part of my learning as well, when you get faster in gravel, there is a negative comes with it, and you're up the road, and there's a different driving style to driving, you know, at the start, you know, and then there is on the back. So I think, you know, from my point of view now on pacing, you know, I think Dava been that far up the road because look, we have to hope with Lakeland and the Bushwhacker they put me down to about 7th or 8th or 9th there. But just in case they don't, you know, I need to learn how to, you know, because even I was trying stuff there at the weekend, you know, to try and get a much more, you know, you're throwing the car earlier and you know, on the loose, and you're letting her straighten quicker, you know, and you know, that's something I need to. There's a timing on that, you know, Kevin, and I got something I need to, you know, Paddy and Cahan and them boys, you know, with them being sort of more used to running up the road. I think this is where, you know, maybe could potentially struggle. I think when we all get into the clean, you know, as we've seen on the weekend, you know, when we all get into the clean road, you know, there's not much on it between the top boys. So, you know, the times, you know, if you're going to want to try and do something at the Bushwhacker or the Lakelands, you know, I think I'm going to need to get out of the blocks, you know, and I think me and Ryan Cowles, you know, definitely struggled in that first stage and on Cork, you know, like it was definitely something I said to myself, you know, this is, you know, we've got a bit of work to do here to try and get a bit of, you know, speed, you know, because like, to be fair, you know, like you can't lose 7 or 8 seconds now. You know what I mean? You can maybe give away 2 or 3, and you know, if you're bad road position, but 7 or 8 high, your rally could be over. And I suppose one thing that I'm going to say, even for finance, you know, Cork Motor Club there, one of the things that I really liked, and I don't know if they meant this or not, but at driver's briefing, you could really see the COC was talking about the bogies, and they were really concerned about the bogies at the weekend, and just more or less said that they wanted to make it driver stages. They didn't want it to be full of chicanes, but they understand that the motor club couldn't do much more about the bogey because they wanted the time. That they wanted the average speed, as for it, and that was really telling me that they really wanted us to be right for the drivers. Do you know what I mean? And for us to have the best, get the best run at it. And we had a concern, but thankfully the bogies didn't play.
No.
The bogies didn't play, and I think the rain helped that. I definitely think
one person beat the bogey in one stage, yes.
not for 11 seconds, but. But I'll say no more. There was enough of slagging.
So Niall, is it back to the engineer's hat back on again, or do you hope to get back out again yourself soon?
Seems to be it's back to business, Kevin, for a while. Look, I love the Lakelands. Everybody knows that. That's the kind of the rally I've mainly done. And I would love to get at it. 16 miles of Allen tempo. That's anybody that's going to be lucky enough to get over that once, never mind twice.
Yes.
So, but look, we're lucky to have the car. The hire cars is busy, so I'm quite sure that they're out for the Lakelands and the Bushwhacker and possibly Dava as well. So I'm actually going to not Quarry this Sunday, Mayo and Sunday, because Skippy, the main man, everyone has talked me into that. He's looking to go down and we're going down there to do that on Sunday. Just I would say that'll be my last time I'll be seen for a while. Yeah. But I'll keep on in October. I would love to get at Cam Forest next to that, but never know what we can pull out of the bag. There might be something yet. I don't know. We'll see. Yes.
Thanks to those two boys there. That was great crack, and they wanted to pay tribute to all the other competitors there at the weekend. They made special reference to Derek Mackerel and all the rest of them there. Really put the race up to them there at the weekend. Also at the weekend then too, the Grampian, the latest instalment of the BRC, and once again, William Creighton started the show really. I know we had a couple of punchers, but the times were phenomenal.
Yeah, listen, as you mentioned, there's a couple of issues there. He had punctures, nothing you can do about that really in one sense. But yeah, like a 9-stage event, and he was quickest over 4 of them. So the pace is there, it's coming there, and I suppose the experience that he's getting both in the WRC2 as well as the BRC, it's really coming to the top now. You're really starting to see that in what he's achieving.
That's for sure. Like I have him down as one of my stars of the season this year. I have to say, like himself and Josh McErlean too. We knew they were good, but this year's just we're seeing them we're seeing them almost with new eyes.
We are, absolutely, and also. We are, and I don't want to get sidetracked onto Josh because we want to talk about the Grampian, but as well as that, when you think of the spotlight both of those youngsters are under, as well, like they really are in the thick of it now. They're, Josh is driving for Talk Sport and William's driving for M Sport. The spotlight is on them from all angles, and they're performing, and they're not, that they're handling the pressure of that as well.
Yeah, and we've said it how many times before, and they're real good fellas as well too. They're so obliged and they're so mannerly. They're just good people as well too.
Yeah. But look, Grampian, it was a great event. It was competitive, and we saw the Yaris come out on top again.
Yeah, the Yaris is definitely between it now and the Skoda. It's very interesting just to see who's going to come out on top there. They are the cars to have in the WRC and the ERC and all that. If we get a few more Skodas here, like we've seen what Callum done in Donegal, like just first time out of the box there too. So yeah, and then the Fiesta, second, third, and fourth there at the weekend. Yep. It's still there, it's still in the mix. So.
Absolutely now, and you would hope still some more development work to be done. I know they did a lot, particularly around the cooling package, that made a huge difference for this year. So you would hope that there's still a bit of development life left in the Fiesta. I know you and I were discussing it over the weekend, and you rightly pointed out there's not too many shells left, considering they stopped making the Fiesta. So you kind of wonder what is the shelf life on it, but it's certainly still competitive.
That's for sure. That's for sure. You know, and there's still so many. You know, still so much left of the BRC. The next round is Caradigan, and like that's going to be that's going to be phenomenal. You know, you've the ERC, the BRC, you know, the Pro Tire British Championship. There's so many things all coming together for that weekend. I just think that's going to be a real cracker of an event.
Yeah, it should be a nice, exciting event. Good, fast tarmac stages. You know, it should be hopefully a joy to watch and follow.
And it's just unfortunately the way it's fallen into like the Irish calendar as well. Like you know, with the Ulster this weekend and then the Cork 20 only in a few weeks' time, it's probably making it difficult for any of our guys really that want to go over there. Cronin is obviously looking at it. You know, he's doing the assault in both championships. But it'll be interesting to see if any of our other stars make the trip across.
Yeah, it will do because you know, again, it's always nice to bench our home talent against the international talent, and you know, I suppose there aren't that many opportunities so close to home to do that. So yeah, it would be nice to see it.
That's for sure. That's for sure. But a bit more about the Grampian. You know, like what can we say? Like you know, Jimmy McRae back out, 80 years of age, and just loving life and loving rallying.
You listen, look, it's incredible to see. And, you know, Jimmy was there, and Max McRae was there as well, competing
Yeah.
and doing, you know, a fairly decent run at the event as well.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
had one really good
fabulous.
time, hadn't he? Like, he was third fastest on one of the stages and all too.
Yeah,
So there's definitely a potential there to be tapped. There's no doubt
yeah.
about it.
But just fabulous to see the McRae name, you know, still involved, still competing. And yeah, look, it's always like Jimmy was, you know, one of my first heroes in rallying when I got into the sport. And just always fabulous to see him, you know, out and about.
Yeah, for sure. And then Holly, you know, having the opportunity to interview her grandfather and doing a rally and all too. I just love them kind of stories there. I just think that's fabulous.
Yeah, I know it's lovely to see us behind the scenes stuff and you know continuing the dynasty, you know, the McRae name. It is it's a good feel good story.
That's for sure. And then, unfortunately, you know, the junior BRC, like we had a really strong entry from this side, you know, the IUC point of view. Like all looking so good, you know, early on in the rally, but unfortunately, a few dramas. Ryan McHugh and Ken McBride both, you know, went off the results, but Keelan Grogan come away with second and maximum points in the Stellantis. Robert Proudlock took the one. You know, he had switched tyres for the weekend, but a real strong run there by Robert.
Yeah, no, very good event for Robert. Good to see. And you know, we've I think what we chatted to him in Donegal, and again, you know, putting on a good show there on the tarmac. But yeah, it's certainly, I suppose, a home event for him, and you know, a really good show. And now, in fairness, Kyle and Ryan were going at it, hammer and tongs between the two of them. It was such a pity that you know one, never mind, both of them went out. Like it really was highly competitive from between those two.
Yeah, and then Keelan taking maximum points in the Stellantis Cup too, which you know, at the end of the day, points make prizes. You know, and that'll be at the end of the season. That's where the you know where the benefit will be from getting the result.
That's it. Listen, it's all about finishing.
Yeah, that's for sure. So anyway, I think without further ado, we'll hear from Will Creighton.
William, it's certainly been a very busy couple of weeks for you. I don't think you've had much rest. And certainly, maybe if we want to start with Finland, how was it?
It was yeah, really nice experience. And I say that we've done our first Finland. Pretty daunting. You know, the test on the Monday or the Sunday, whatever it was before the rally, was our first time sort of, you know, getting the experience on the Finnish road. So it was nice to have that opportunity, but it's definitely something else. And then with the, you know, the mixed weather added in this year, it was a proper challenge. I think, you know, Finland is usually known for being a Grand Prix and the margins to be so tight. I don't know when last we saw such carnage with all the top guys, and it was just quite a different rally, I guess, to usual.
Yeah, I suppose like you know, I was looking through EWRC before we got, you know, had this interview and just to check, and I was a bit like, oh, he's never been to Finland before, and then I realized like, sure, it's never been part of the junior. So you know, you just presume some of the old classics, you know, when you've been around the JWRC, you would have covered them before. So it must have been pretty daunting coming in. As you say, you know, it's a very fast paced rally, but with those huge jumps, having the confidence to tackle those, and then on top of that, you had Oyampoya, you know, in its full glory.
Yeah, I'm very lucky to say that we've now done Finland and we've done Monte Carlo and we've done Sweden. So, you know, we've done all these we've done the most iconic rallies in the World Championship, and to do that at whatever age I am now, not doing the WRC for so long is quite special. So, but yeah, setting that aside, the actual rally itself, it's pretty daunting to go and try and write pace notes there and get it accurate for the first time. So that's kind of what I was focusing on, and some of the stages that were more simple, our speed was better there, and then when you moved on to the ones that were typical finish stages with a lot of jumps and crests over corners, that's where you need the experience to know how the car is going to react and the amount of speed that you can carry. So yeah, going into the rally, it was going to be, I said it on the weekend, it was going to be like a weekend of discovery. We didn't know what was going to happen in some of the corners and how much speed you could actually carry. And it's, you can't take the risk there, and then you have to build yourself in and learn those sort of things. So if we were ever to go back in the future, it would be, you already approach the second pass of stages with a lot more confidence. So, like speaking to Jari Matti Latvala at the start line, it was either his 19th or 20th Rally Finland. So to have that sort of experience stands you in a place like that. But yeah, like amazing rally. The atmosphere in Jyväskylä is something else. The whole city just shuts down for the rally, and everyone is there for the rally. So real nice atmosphere, and it was an enjoyable week.
And those big jumps, you're doing at a recce speed. Like, can you even get a sense of how far you're going to travel? When you're doing the notes, I mean, how difficult is it to write really strong, confident pace notes where pace and speed is extremely important?
Yeah, it's something you just have to calibrate yourself to, and with doing Latvia before that, quite a fast rally, that definitely helped. So we had the experience of that and had a lot of seat time in the car. So it is difficult, but I think if you make your pace notes consistent from the start of the recce to the finish, then when you start driving in the rally car, everything's consistent and you get a feel for it, and you're calibrated for it really. But yeah, it is tricky that with particularly jumps on some of the corners where the car might land, but just like I said, consistent pace notes, and you can sort of feel your way into it. And I think you think it's going to be more difficult than it is. You think it's going to be very difficult on the recce, but when you get into flat out in the rally car, it works. It does flow. So, and then whenever you sort of get that confidence, there's no better feeling.
And what do you call it? We saw as well, weather played a part this year in Finland as well. Some really heavy torrential rain, and then on top of that, you had some of the smaller roads that were used in between the big wide parts of the stages. And particularly, we saw what happened to Lappi, where they cut up in around the trees. Pretty much, the Rally 1 cars are maybe too abrasive on those roads.
Yeah, I think the weather was not typical for out there, and our luck that it had been a really dry summer and warm summer until the week of the rally. So the roads were in really good condition, and then the week of the recce and the rally, it sort of all fell apart with the amount of rain that we had, and turned the sort of like clay base to mud. Yeah, and then there was a couple of sections that they joined two stages together to make one long one, and some narrow link roads that Lappi had problems on others, and it was actually the same section of road that we had problems on Friday. So yeah, there was a lot of tricky sections, and then whenever the ruts were created and we had some torrential downpours, when they filled with water, it was like two rivers running down each side of the road, and when you get up onto that on the gravel tire, you're just aquaplaning, and not a nice sensation. So and the showers were quite isolated, so you could start the stage and it'd be quite nice and quite sunny, and then get 15k into Unumpoya, and it unleashes, and it's you can't see where you're going, and you don't have a lot of grip. So tricky, but yeah, that 32k stage of Unumpoya is like a proper roller coaster. The undulation in the road and the speed that you're able to carry is quite special, and it's an enjoyable stage, but a frustrating one, because whenever you're not taking the most out of it, or you don't have full confidence in the pace notes, it is quite daunting, and you know what's possible, but you're on edge. You don't want to try and risk anything. So yeah, like I said, if we're ever back there and they run that stage again, it'd be nice to get another lash at it.
And next time you're talking to Chris Meek, you'll be able to compare notes.
Yeah, I watched a lot of Chris's onboard there, and Paul trying to get the notes out as quickly as possible, and Chris just driving flat out to them. Probably has to be one of the best onboards out there. Yeah, if we can ever get close to something what Chris did in there, I'll be happy enough.
And you mentioned there, how tricky it is with the ruts, the heavy rain, the aquaplane. Like, how do you even try and pick or tiptoe and you can't really afford to tiptoe because you've still got to get pace, your way through that. Like, you have that difficulty of you could aquaplane, but at the same time you can't go out of the rut either.
Yeah. On the second pass we got a really clean run of an Empoy on the first pass, which was good. And then the second pass started well, and then it started to rain really, really heavy. Trying to pick your line, there's times I was even coming out of the rut to go off the line to try and get some grip. Because like I said, the ruts were just filled with water, but then once you do that, you're right into the loose gravel then, and it's like mud when there's so much rain. So it's very difficult. Whenever you're in that situation, there's not a lot you can do, and the position we were in at that point, it's not worth risking anything. So, whenever that happens, you just have to sort of get through as cleanly as possible.
Yeah, and I suppose you have the difficulty there of punctures as well once you get off the line, and and when the weather's like that too, you have the steaming up inside the car as well. Like, you have a lot of things all happening around the same time you have to contend with.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of things that can go wrong for you in that situation, just trying to manage them. Generally, Finland, it's known for being wide, flat out roads, but there is also a lot of technical sections to it, narrow roads that have a lot of like sharp rocks that are on the line or on the inside of corners that they're on the line that you have to take, and it's okay in the recce. But as more cars go through and churn up the road, they start to, they're appearing then on the surface. So it's very easy to pick up a puncture on the second pass on those narrow roads. And usually in Finland, you're only carrying one spare, so it's something that you have to manage as well. Paella is particularly a stage that you have to be careful for that, and that was the one just before in Empoya. So you don't want to mess anything up in there, and then not get the experience of in Empoya. So it's for such a flat out rally. It's also one that's quite technical and quite tricky.
And this year obviously it's about learning and experience and picking up the pace in that in the WRC2 car. What's your biggest takeaway from Finland? Was there anything you were surprised by, or or has anything been confirmed for you? You had thought, oh, with okay, that's something I now know to look out for or to be aware of.
Yeah, well, I think it's already having a set of pace notes for those stages to go back and start the recce with something in front of you is a massive advantage. But on the stages, like I say, that are, let's say, a little bit more simple, our speed was good there, and I really enjoyed them, particularly the second pass when you have a little bit more confidence of where you're going and a feel for the car on those stages. You can really see why people rave about Finland then, and how much enjoyment there is driving there. And then, yeah, whenever you could then translate that sort of feeling into stages over crests and jumps and get it into a really good flow, proper roller coaster. And yeah, that's why it's the home of rallying.
Yeah. And did you find second pass, or sorry, on the first pass, you were making changes to the notes because you had started with a fresh book?
Not so much changes, but just confidence in what you're doing. When you have people there that have done the rally so many times, yes, the pace notes are so important, and that's what you have to drive to. But it does come down to experience as well as just having that extra bit of confidence. In the grand scheme of things, it's probably not a huge difference when it translates to the time, but it's just that feeling inside the car, and it's much more enjoyable.
Yeah, and that piece again on experience and confidence and stuff, like there must be some level of comfort being part of the M Sport team, with the amount of experience under their belt and knowledge that they have and support that they provide to you.
Yeah, no, for sure. Then, especially with Adrian doing the rally last year in that car with, advice from him and setup, and then also in actually driving, because we knew going into Finland that it was going to be the rally that we were going to, we knew what we were faced with and what we were getting ourselves into. So it was as much about working on, myself as well, like for the test before the rally. It took us half a day just to for me to try and get to a consistent level where I knew what I was doing and getting the most out of the test road before we then started to change things, because we were just getting quicker and quicker and quicker as I got more confident and carrying more speed on the wider road. And then just trying to feel comfortable as I can with the car, and having that test also really helps with understanding what speed you can carry, because then when you go to the recce, you have a much better idea and you can translate that into your pace notes.
And then, what do you call it? Moving on, you didn't have much of a break. It was a quick turnaround, and you're on to the next round of the British Rally Championship, onto the Grampian Rally.
Yeah, the team did a great job. We were in a new car for the Grampian Rally, and that was turned out very nicely. And basically, straight from Finland to the Grampian test, which was good. We had a lot of seat time in the car, but to go to the stages in Scotland, to get that chance to have a test, just to sort of calibrate yourself back into a slightly more narrow road, although still really fast stages up there. At times it even felt faster than Finland because of the hedge lines. The trees were flying past you that quickly. So really nice stages up there. I've never been up before. Really hard base. They got quite rough for the second pass of stages, and even for some of the first pass, just with the level in the BRC. Everybody's looking for every little bit of advantage they can get, and that includes taking quite big cuts and nicking the edges of corners. And when you start to do that, it brings out some big loose rocks onto the road. So not so nice for some of the competitors running back down the field. But really nice stages up there. We had a good recce, and we had good speed on the rally. Started really well, and then unfortunately picked up a couple of punctures, which lost us a bit of time. But quite promising from my side to start the rally on rally winning speed and sort of be able to show that throughout the whole event. Whereas the previous BRC events, whilst we were thereabouts, we were more that third place position, and then if someone had a problem or we were able to build our speed throughout the rally, we could then climb. But it was slightly different this weekend, which is nice.
Yeah, like you the two punctures, which is obviously a setback, and the spin. What out of 9 stages, like you had 4, stage wins, which is a fantastic result considering the other difficulties you had.
Yeah, it's nice. It just obviously we want to convert the speed into wins, and we'll not rush that. And now that we've shown the speed, hopefully that will come. But it was good to do that, and I think obviously there was no doubt about it, coming from Latvia, Finland, so much time in the car. I think we had to show some speed, or there would have been a problem. But it was good, and looking forward now to obviously switching to tarmac. I think we need to get back to the feeling that we had on tarmac, particularly in Croatia when we had some good speed. To be able to challenge the top guys as well, because the speed in that BRC and the level is really good this year. So it's good to be a part of it.
Yeah, so next round, as you say, it's Rally Cardigan in the tarmac. And it's been a while since you've been out on tarmac. Will you get a chance to get a test or do a small rally somewhere, or is that probably maybe isn't much time for that?
Well, there's not much time. It's only about 2.5 weeks. So it'd be nice to get a drive, a test of something on tar before the rally, but we haven't got anything organised yet. But we'll start to look into that, straight away now, and see what we can do. But we've also had good miles already this year on tarmac from West Cork and Croatia, and the other BRC tarmac rounds. So it just need to get back to that feeling as quickly as we can. But yeah, it's going to be a big rally. There's a lot of people doing it, with it being an ERC event. I've never done the rally before, but I'll do the research, and everybody says that the stages are nice. So I think the Fiesta is good on tarmac as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you mentioned it's around the ERC as well. So do you, obviously you're going into this still leading the BRC. Do you shut out of your mind the ERC piece and just focus on the BRC, or you kind of want to be in the mix there with the ERC runners as well?
Well, the full focus has to be on maximising our points for the British Championship. But to do that, Keith Cronin, Chris Ingram, Chris has won the European Championship before. Oisin Price. There's so many people there, and there'll be locals that will turn out for that rally as well. That will be quick. So to maximise your BRC points, I've no doubt that your overall position will be a good one. But that's definitely the aim, is the BRC. But um, it's nice to be involved in an ERC event. It's the championship has got a lot of publicity at the minute and a lot of following, so it'll be a big atmosphere.
And we saw at the weekend the Grampian, Malcolm Wilson was there, the boss. Is that is that a positive for you to have him there, or do you feel could do without the extra pressure?
Oh no, well, we had the bosses from the academy and we had the bosses from M Sports, so everybody was there making sure I was doing what I was told. But yeah, no, it's great to have those sort of people there, the experience that Malcolm has, and he knows, everything that's going on within the team and looking after everything. So, to have his experience there and just to have someone at that level involved in my program is very nice, and quite privileged to be in this position. So yeah, he was there to lend advice and make sure everything was going as it should.
And again, wealth of experience and knowledge, of various rounds of the British Rally Championship to tap into there as well. We've seen Malcolm compete at most of those events previously.
Yeah, that's what he was saying, that, the Grampian, those stages up there were some of his favorite. So yeah, no doubt about it. It's M Sport have done all these rallies before, so they've got a wealth of knowledge. And whenever I'm going there, never have done these stages or these rallies, it's quite a benefit. And I think the majority of the rallies we do now for the remainder of the year are new ones to us. So it's going to be trying to bank on the experience where we can, and doing our research so that we can approach the rallies, to be as competitive as everyone else there.
So between the WRC2 campaign and the BRC campaign, you really don't have much opportunity for a rest or a break. Like, are you even getting the opportunity, you and Liam, to get a couple of days off?
Well, we've got a couple of weeks now before the next rally, so yeah, got a couple of days away on holiday and then back to preparing for Ceredigion. So, and Liam probably trying to punch in some time at work and get caught up to speed with reality, and then back to preparing for events. So it's been a very busy period. So I have to thank M Sport, the academy, for all their support, and for Liam, because the amount of work that everybody puts in behind the scenes is huge to be at these events and to do a good job. So a massive thank you to everybody, and we've still got a lot to do the rest of the year, and I'm looking forward to it. But it's nice just to have a little bit of time now to reset and regroup, and then hit the ground running.
Yeah, listen, fantastic to catch up with Will, and God love him, he's literally going rally to rally at the moment. There's not much opportunity for a break in between. But as we also discussed in that interview, we chatted about Rally Finland, and thought it would also be a perfect opportunity to catch up with Josh McErlean and Eamonn Kelly, who also competed on the event. Eamonn, Josh, back home, settled down after Finland. A fairly tough event this year, Eamonn.
Yeah, Finland's always tough. It's so fast. Obviously, one of the best rallies in the world. But yeah, it's tricky for a reason. The speeds are so high. You have to be so committed, and you're kind of constantly on the edge of a potential big accident. So yeah, tricky rally. When you add in weather and stuff too, it rained a lot. Got very slippy. For us juniors at the back of the field too, we get all the worst of the conditions. So yeah, tricky event, but still obviously mega fun. But probably not the Finland that people would think, or not the Finland that people play in the video games. Yeah, plenty of drama, plenty of wrecking done. But yeah, thankfully we weren't involved in the wrecking, but it was very tricky indeed.
And Josh, fifth event in the Skoda, settling well into the car.
Yeah, it was quite a clean event from our side. As Eamon said, the conditions were very tricky throughout, and the weather was that unpredictable. And them speeds, it gets quite treacherous whenever you come around a corner, and there's standing water in the middle of the road, and flat in fifth gear. So yeah, it's good to come away with no damage or no mistakes. As the last couple of events, we had small mistakes that had big consequences in the overall result. So no, it was a steady weekend, and yeah, a top I think it was 7th WRC2 and 5th WRC2 Challenger was a good way to come away from it, considering that everyone in front was either Scandinavian or from the Baltics.
And Josh, like, I know from watching the rally TV coverage and following the event, like, you could be into one of those long stages, and next thing in the middle of it, there's a heavy downpour. There's probably no way to prepare for that, but I suppose, how do you tackle that?
Yeah, at the start of the event, before stages, you started to watch rally TV. It was obviously the top guys were in, and halfway through the event, I just stopped watching it because you could go to the second corner, it could be full rain, and they got it dry. So yeah, it's so unpredictable. I think there's a couple of stages on Saturday where it was full rain at the start, dried in the middle, and full rain at the end. So yeah, it's very localized weather in Finland. It's probably the worst we've ever seen. Been there 3 years now. So yeah, as Eamonn said, it's probably not the typical Finland that everyone dreams of or imagines, but still, it's incredible to be there in them cars at them speeds, and yeah, with the company around you.
And Eamon, for yourself, must be frustrating, to get caught out like that the weather can play such a, deal you such a bad hand, really, at times in that event.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's the same for everybody, but sometimes you get a raw deal. I think we took off from the start line of the stage on the Friday. Our first 2 stages were cancelled on Friday, and we eventually got going. And I mean, the second we went go, it just started bucketing. It was as if the rain cloud was listening to the clock like me as well. And I mean, for the first kilometer, I couldn't see a thing. Like, fully, it was like driving with a curtain over your eyes, and you're trying to commit and take lines over jumps, and you're like, where am I going to land? Where even is the crest? And there was a couple of times we nearly went off the road, and it's such a bad way to enter a stage and try and get into a flow after that. That's so difficult. So yeah, we dropped, like, I think 25, 30 seconds, which was huge. And it's very difficult to get that time back to in Finland because it's such high speeds and narrow margins. No different with WRC2, the juniors, there's 20 odd drivers there. So yeah, you have to be on it all the time. But thankfully, after that stage, we managed to just sort of recoup ourselves and made sure that didn't happen again. And we were fairly committed from there on out, and we dealt with the weather, I think, relatively well. And it's mad. Like, you would literally be driving along the road section, and you would turn in off the main road to go into the stage, and I mean, it would be bone dry. And as soon as you go in towards the stage, it'd be like monsoon rain. You couldn't write it. It was as if it was like only raining on the stages. Yeah, but like I said, same for everybody. And look, we had it. We got the bad luck of the weather on Friday. Other people might have got it on Saturday, and I might have got away with it. So it swings and roundabouts. But yeah, it's an added challenge, and we actually did the second pass of Onampoya in the wet as well, which, like, as if the first pass wasn't daunting enough, the second pass doing it in heavy rain was crazy. So yeah, but here, these are the challenges of rallying, and what makes it special too.
And Josh, like, Eamon mentions Onampoya. What was it like for yourself in the fuzzy?
I think the reggae alone was a big shock to the system. You watch the onboards of previous years, and you hear the likes of Peter Solberg talk about it, and then you start into it, and it's actually the first 7 or so K that's the most daunting, because it's jumps and lines into crests, and yeah, it's so hard to write pace notes for during recce. Is, yeah, the road's quite wide, and there's many crests, and there's lines over crests, and yeah, you'd be coming flat out up to a tree line, and it could look like a square right, but it's flat in 5th gear. So yeah, it's quite a daunting experience. It's probably one of the most daunting stages in the World Championship. But honestly, we had a good time over it the first time. I think we were 12 down in the quickest, and yeah, we got it on the dry, which was quite nice. And no, it's an incredible experience, and to say you've done the likes of Onampoya in Finland in the dry, and yeah, to be not that far away is quite incredible.
And having the opportunity to do it more or less its full length as well.
Yeah, I think it's more or less at its full length, and maybe it was 1.5 or 2K longer, and it's 2015. I think I watched Chris Makeover many times, and yeah, no, it was unbelievable, and it the virtual chicane in it as well. Which, okay, there's many people talking about this and complaining, but honestly, it wasn't so bad where it was at, and it kind of broke the stage up from high speed to, let's say, a more open section after it. So no, it's a good experience, and I'd say you'll see a lot more of it in the World Championship.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the virtual chicanes. Like, what's your view of them, having had it now as in the full tilt? You know, which would you have a preference for that now rather than the risk of doing damage on a normal chicane?
It's you're really used to normal chicanes now in rally, and it's part of it as well. But yeah, you could say the damaging factor is not as big with these virtual chicanes, but it's quite hard to trust or see how accurate the GPS still is at this point. I think we were down to like 40 kilometers an hour compared to the GPS tracker. So I think there's just still a bit of work to do. And yeah, whenever you come to the fine margins of the top end of WRC, these guys want to have it bang on. So yeah, I think with time it'll get better, and there's no doubt. Yeah, we'll see it more.
And Eamon, look, we mentioned how difficult the weather was, but also in parts you could see some of the roads were cutting up very badly in the stages as well. And we saw what happened to Esapeka. You know, how for you guys running, especially on the second run through some of those stages, like it must have been fairly deep for the wee Fiesta.
Definitely, yeah. A lot of wee Fiestas suffered, and I mean, you still have to be as committed. You can't come out of it and back off. But yeah, it's tricky on the fast sections where it was wet and the roads were cutting up. You know, when you're trying to pitch the car, it can be very difficult at high speed because you're trying to pitch the car into the rut and making sure that you're not going to fly into the rut and fly back out of it. And you did have to be prepared for that sort of snap out of the rut as well at high speed. So yeah, tricky, definitely. It's because I did a rally the week before in Tampere, which is like literally only an hour from Jyväskylä, and similar types of roads. And like, I've no doubt that the WRC Finland stages would be the exact same on a good day with like less cars over them, and like the conditions were mint. It was unbelievable, and we were running like 14th car on the road, and the speed you could carry was unbelievable. Like your grip was super super high, no little to no ruts, and you just felt like you were on rails. It was one of the best experiences I've ever had. You know, rallying, it was just gives you a new appreciation for the sport. And I'm not saying Finland doesn't give you that either, but obviously when you have the ruts and stuff and the weather, it becomes a lot more tricky, and you probably just can't have the same out and out commitment. But again, it's part of the game. That particular section where Esapeka went off was crazy. It was like a man-made road, and I mean, you were just a passenger going through it. My car was like bobbing up and down. It was like a boat, and yeah, we were just lucky to get through it with no damage because I think a few juniors broke stuff in there, and it was like maybe half a kilometer of even of road. So yeah, we obviously got unlucky too. We were obviously trying to claw down the leader, and we had him down to 8 seconds, and I think we would have got him too. And it was a second pass of one of the stages on Saturday, again, just where it had rutted up and through a fast corner and a compression, and we didn't even feel like we hit anything, but there was obviously just a lot of a rough bedrock on the inside, and it was enough to blow out our tire immediately, and we had to stop and change it. So yeah, that's what you're dealing with. You've elements of roughness, and it can catch anybody out, and unfortunately we got stuck on the rough end of it. But yeah, it's some challenge.
And Eamon, with your pace notes, I suppose in those conditions where it's very heavily rutted, obviously you can't really rely on the pace notes that you've made when the conditions were, you know, inverted commas, perfect. Like, how do you get the most out of them, or you know, what are you actually even really listening to the pace notes at that point?
Yeah, no, I think you are. You're still, you just like once your pace notes are consistent, that's all that matters, and you're reading the road as well. You know, it's not everywhere wasn't rutted. You know, there were still really good sections and places you could push on, and places where there was ruts, but they weren't necessarily deep. You just had to be prepared for the car to maybe let a bit of a wobble out. But no, you still had to commit to your notes. I think if you started to try and like readjust notes in your head and figure it out as you go on, you'd only fry your brain and you'd be really slow. So yeah, no, you just had to commit to it and do your best to read the road to see if there was anything that looked really bad. But on the big fast sections, it was fairly easy to still commit to your notes. But yeah, commitment is everything over there. If you start to doubt anything in your notes or anything in your driving, you can forget about it. Like, you're just going to be off the pace. So you have to be 100% committed to your notes, and especially on the first pass as well.
And Josh, for yourself, like when we talked before, when you did the classic safari, one of the things you know you had to get to grips with was actually reading the road ahead of you. Like, did that experience come into play at all when you were coming in those sections that were really badly cut up amongst the trees, and it was probably hard to pick a proper line?
I don't think so. I think it's Safari is a completely different type of rallying compared to, let's say, Finland or in a Rally 2 car, let's say. And as Eamonn said, it was only sections that were really bad under the trees, narrow sections that properly cut up. But again, once you go onto the fast roads, if you didn't trust something, you're either off the road or off the pace. It's one or the other. And Finland is one of them places where you have to have full trust in the car, the setup, everything to do with the team. Everything has to come together there to be right on the pace. And if there is something small wrong, it's let's say amplified in Finland in terms of the times, because you'll just drop time in a kilometer, no bother. So no, honestly, it's one of them events where you have to kind of leave your mind at the start of the stage and trust what the co-driver is saying, because that's all it is. And yeah, we've done Finland twice now, and I would say that's probably been the trickiest one, with the inconsistency in the grip and the conditions with the water line in the road, with aquaplaning in the ruts as well. So no, it was good to get through cleanly, no mistakes, and we're in one piece heading into Greece in a few weeks now.
And you know that you mentioned you did Finland last year, and obviously, you know, smaller setup, smaller team. You now with Talk Sport, you have the likes of, you know, Oliver Solberg there and Gus Greensmith and other ones around you as well. What's like, is there much of an atmosphere for information sharing and getting set up right and stuff before the event, or is it still, are you still in your own little bubble there, and there isn't that much, you know, sort of collegiateness between the guys?
No, honestly, it's quite open. Everyone's got their own Skoda Motorsport engineers, so it's a Skoda Motorsport truck where all the engineers are sitting. They're all talking together, so it's an open environment from that point of view. And with the data and setups during testing, it's the same thing. And yeah, to have the likes of Oliver there, who's obviously won Finland, and to look back on it now to see where he was getting the time, or where we were losing it in certain places. And yeah, it's not that much. It's slight lifts that is amplified over 1 kilometer flat out section of road, where you can lift it for 0.1 of a second, and at the end of that there is 2 seconds gone. So yeah, it's these small things now that you have to look into and see where to improve on. But yeah, even Pierre-Louis and Gus is good to have, but at the start of the year, if you had to say you were going to be matching these boys or beating them, it would have been, yeah, quite a surprise. So I think Oliver's the perfect benchmark now to look at and go forward with.
And Eamon, you know, we've seen a very competitive JWRC this year. What's that like, being with such a large group, you know, around, and I suppose all the extra engineers on board for M Sport as well there to support you guys?
Yeah, it's a busy camp. A lot more than last year, and I think last year there was quite a close group of people, and all the drivers would have been relatively close, you know, or the crews, and we all got along quite well. And it's not to say that people don't get along this year, but there's just so many of us that it's very much every man to themselves. And it's probably different to what Josh was explaining in Top Sport. It's not so much of an open environment in terms of information sharing. Everybody is very much closed information, and you do get an engineer, and that engineer might be working with a couple of other drivers, but you wouldn't be allowed to know any info about what other people are saying or feedback, etc. And you'll often get a lot of drivers like myself who'll go and test in advance with a different team, and you'll go to the rally with your own setup, having worked with an engineer from a completely different team. So yeah, everyone kind of does their own thing. But in saying that, I get along with the majority of the drivers there, if not all of them, and you do have a bit of crack with them, and especially the guys from last year that I know that bit better. And it is good fun at times, and it's the way it should be. It shouldn't be any other way. But yeah, it's definitely a hectic environment there, especially when there's yokes coming in with bits hanging off them, and the mechanics of like half an hour to sort it out. It's bedlam. So it's nice to just get out of the service bay and get in and put a set of headphones in and just look at notes and drown out the noise.
And Eamonn, you had a few minor issues, or a few, Fiesta was down in power a wee bit there during the year and stuff. All that sorted out now coming into Finland?
Thankfully, it was sorted out. Yeah, we had issues with supposedly it was to do with our radiator, giving issues with some blocking in the channels and not getting proper cooling. So supposedly that was the issue, and they was reassured that it was sorted for Finland, and it was. The car ran perfectly. I had zero complaints. So it was a pity that I felt we had good speed going into the likes of Croatia. The same speed that we had in Finland, but we never really got a chance to properly show it. But that's rallying; it happens. And then, of course, it carried through into Sardinia as well, and we'd a couple of other issues. But look, that's sometimes your luck's in it, and sometimes it's not. But the main thing for us is just to keep building the speed, and that's all we're focused on. We're glad that we could show that in Finland to an extent, and we're still building on it, and we know there's more there. So, once you can justify it to yourself in the timesheets, that's all that matters.
And Josh, next round is Greece. I think, am I right in thinking you haven't competed there before?
Yeah, it's going to be our first time in Greece. Another new challenge. I think it's going to be a big one with so many long stages and not many services during Saturday. But as Eamonn knows all about Greece, and William as well, it's a tricky one, and you have to be there at the end to get the result. So it's another survival. It's going to be like the likes of Portugal, Sardinia, where you have to play your smart game and push on a stage where you can and survive in the next where it's going to be cut up or there's going to be big rocks. So I think we've done it well in Portugal and Sardinia. We have to trust ourselves and going into Greece. The team's been there a lot. Skoda's been there a lot, and the car's obviously proven. So no, it's good to have the whole package together to go in with good confidence.
And like obviously you have your usual preparation going to Greece, so watching the DVDs and all the rest of it. But from a physical point of view, there's a bit of a heat wave out there at the moment. Like, what can you do from that side of things to prepare your body for being in a car 35, 40, 45 degrees?
Yeah, it's the likes of the heat training that's going to play big in this rally. Portugal, Sardinia, they're hot as well, but we've been coming off the back of rallies where it's been kind of cool, and you have to get back into the sauna, heat training, all types of stuff to stay cool during the event. So, no, the academy is quite good at relating to this here, and trusting their advice on it is crucial going forward.
And Eamonn, like, fair to say, JWRC really hasn't gone to plan at all for you this year. What's the next steps for yourself?
Yeah, hasn't gone to plan. We've had 3 bad point scoring rounds now in a row, so that means our championship's down the drain pretty much. It means we won't. We made the decision that we're not going to go to Greece. It just doesn't make sense from a financial point of view. It's such a big cost to go down there, and obviously there's nothing at stake for us. And if it was a rally where you could go and show speed, that's okay, because we'd like to. That's our main aim, is to keep building on that. But Greece is a rally that, as Josh explained, it's so much can go wrong, and it's a bit of a lottery at times, as we experienced last year. And it's a rally where you have to play strategy and try and get to the end with the least amount of trouble. And I think we proved that we could do that last year, so it's not something we necessarily feel like we need to prove again. But I just want to focus on building the speed, so we're going to try and put the finances towards that, and hopefully do a little bit more on at home, hopefully in a Rally 3 car. We've some bits lined up and trying to get across the line and stuff for the very near future as well. That'll hopefully be announced in the coming week or two. But we'll definitely try and keep in the seat, keep sharp, and keep making plans to try and get a program together for next year.
So thanks there now to Josh and Eamonn. Ulster Rally return of the Tarmac Championship this weekend, and around about the 100 cars rally starting nearly Saturday morning. Like this Tarmac Championship, it looked at the start of the year that Cronin and Galvin were going to walk away with it, but it's been nothing but simple, really. It's all still to play for. 10 stages Saturday. Might not decide the championship, but it's definitely going to have a big bearing on it.
Absolutely. Listen, it's been a great championship so far and a great mix of winners and stuff. But really, we're looking Callum Devine, Matt Edwards, Keith Cronin.
Yeah.
Like,
And Josh still an outside.
and yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Sorry, yeah, not to
Yeah.
discount Josh there. Absolutely. It's probably one of the most competitive we've had in a few years.
Yeah, Callum really is the form man, 2 1s in the bounce now, Killarney and Donegal. Matt Edwards been, can't discount him. Keith Cronin, you definitely won't discount him. And we keep saying if this Citroen clicks, Josh on his day can be as quick as anybody and quicker sometimes too. So, yeah, it's depending on how the weather is, and I haven't seen any sort of no idea of the stages, but the Ulster stages do tend to be quite tricky, and if it's damp around like that, there it could be tire choice come down to it really.
Yeah, that's it. Look, again, weather dependent. There could be a bit of pollution on the road, and again, we're that time of year where there's a lot of agricultural movement, and that again, if that's damp, those stages get awful tricky and slippy. But they're very similar to the circuit stages. And look at that. Callum's always good in the circuit. Matt Edwards is good in the circuit. Keith Cronin's not going to be far away, nor is Josh.
No.
Like, you just can't choose.
No, it is. I think it's going to be really intriguing. As I say, I don't know now how all the facts and figures will work out. Somebody will probably correct me, but I can't see the title being decided now at the weekend. I think it's still going to go down to the Cork 20. I think it's going to be almost down to the very last stage in Cork to sort this out. But no doubt come Saturday evening there'll be a lot of numbers being crunched to see where they're all at.
Yeah, look, absolutely, and hopefully everybody has a clean run. We want to see all the top contenders finish to keep that battle going to the end.
Yeah, because we just love to see them. They're scrapping over these tenths of seconds, fractions of seconds, and the drivers, the crews get the buzz out of that. We get the buzz out of that. It just keeps, as we talked about earlier, just keeps pushing the thing on to the new levels.
Yeah, no, absolutely does. And then look, again, we're very caught up on the top of this, but also a very good modified battle there as well coming up.
Aye, the modifieds, the historics, there's just there's quality right throughout the field, and then tipping at the end as well as the micro challenge as well too, and those guys have some great battles and some great fun as well too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it's a cracking entry. What are we, 100, 101 cars or something for the Ulster? So no, it's a really good competitive Ulster, and we've seen it in previous years where it's maybe suffered a bit being around to the BRC, and I suppose we worried this year with it not being part of the BRC, will that affect it? And doesn't seem to have.
No, and the 10 stages, it's not you can't sort of drive easy and pick up the pace as the day goes on. It's going to be right from the lights go green to to every stage. It's going to be frantic.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like Ulster's always been a bit of a sprint rally, and again, it's not going to be any different this year. It's a 1 day round of the Irish Tarmac Championship. I know we love our 2 or 3 day events of that championship, but there is no holding back when you've got to do it all in the 1 day.
For sure. And I got a chance to catch up with David Gray, one of the organising committee of the rally, and he gave us his thoughts ahead of the event. David, we're only a couple of days away now from the Ulster Rally. A rally rich in history and creating, always showing new initiatives, new things and one thing and another. And this year, unfortunately, not a round of the BRC, but the penultimate round of the Tarmac Championship. And it's really shaping up to a fantastic event.
Yes, indeed. I think as the season developed, it was good that we weren't, if you like, no offence to Callum Devine, but we weren't getting a runaway guy. And all of a sudden, we arrive here. Technically, we've got 4 possibilities. We're certainly the first 3, Callum, Keith, and of course Matt from England, or Wales, I think he might be. But anyway, leaving that aside, but I had a bit of coaxing to get Josh to come along because he was suffering from a shortage of parts for his car. But he eventually got them, so hopefully maybe Josh will get on the pace as well. Then we'll have a 4-way go.
Yeah, and the Ulster Rally is going almost 50 years now at this stage, and you look back at the list of winners, it's like a who's who. There's been world champions, British champions, European champions. It's such a fantastic event, and it has always a reputation for being a short rally, but a tough rally. And this year's no different. 1 day event, but 10 stages.
Yeah, we felt obliged probably after a hectic year last year just to test the 1 day format again. And Wayne has put together a very compact route, and I'm sure you've seen it. And I think it's 85% is stage mileage. Just looking at it here, yeah, it's sorry, got that one wrong. It's 39.4% is. Am I right in that? Yes, just looking at all these notes here. Yeah, it is. So it's pretty good, and it's a compact route, and the road sections are quite connected. So yeah, and then back into service and what have you.
Yeah, because based out in Newry, and like as you say, very compact loop. Once you go, it's only a few miles out to the first stage. You come off the
Indeed,
first
some
stage,
yeah.
and you roll into the next. You roll into the next, and
Yeah.
that for competitors is ideal. The car's not going cold. Components is not cooling the way down. Temperatures have been kept up.
Yep, you've hit the nail on the head there. I'm aware of all those needs. I've competed a long time ago myself. Yep, that's good. And Wynne is put together with that bearing in mind. He's very good at that. He's become a very refreshing clerk of the course to the Ulster Rally, and we obviously wish him well. Again, it's the second one.
Yeah, and what a facility you have there for the base, like the modern tyres facility there in Enniskillen. Like this is not even set in standard in Ireland. This is a world class facility you have there, and the Byrne family is so given of their premises.
Well, it has been described exactly as you said. I think it was after last year. Somebody went on to Facebook or somewhere and said exactly what you've just said, world class. And you're always complacent when you're working with somebody you know and working with premises you know. But people who say that, including yourself, are absolutely right, because it's quite an area where we can bring the cars and the various vans and what have you for service. I think we're just about filling it this year, because we have to remember that his tire market is growing, he tells me, and he's following it. So he has more tires this year than last year, and that's great to see as well, because we don't want to stop his business in any shape or form.
No, because this is a business that's working 6 days a week, an all Ireland business. This is a thriving business, and for them to give over their their time and their premises for a rally, that shows just the mark of the Byrne family.
Absolutely, it is a credit to them, and I suppose Rory, because he's local now, he lives in the area. He feels like a local person when I'm talking to, not an Enniskillen person, but that's not an insult to the family. They're great, and yes, because it's one thing saying, "Yeah, we'll sponsor your rally. Yeah, you can come in here," but it's the organisation he puts in behind it. He will make sure that come Friday, because crews will not start arriving Friday, of course. He will make sure that's ready for him.
And then also an associated sponsor as well as the local council, Armagh and Banbridge and Craigavon Council, who's been obviously a huge help as well too. Yes, we're having a regroup there in Banbridge, and it's nice to see local councils get involved as well.
Indeed, yes. That particular council has been on board, I think, probably for the duration of the Newry, if you like, the Newry start and all the rest of Newry headquarters. So we're very grateful to them, and there's a nice little pocket of financial support, which is so important. So yes, big thank you to that council.
Yeah, because they appreciate what this rally is bringing to the local area. It's bringing hotels, filling up hotels, guest houses, restaurants, pubs are all getting the benefit of this. We don't shout about this enough, how much rallying can bring to the local community.
Well, you're absolutely right, and we do talk to the tourist board, of course, and keep hammering it at home, but sometimes the penny doesn't drop that quickly. But I would guess that if you wanted to find a room now for Friday night into Saturday morning in the area, I would say the answer would be no. Ourselves as a club have put a lot of people into the Mourne Country Hotel, where the old headquarters originally were. So yeah, we're certainly filling the beds as well.
Yeah, and that, that is the great thing about rallying, as well as the sport occasion, the social occasion. People going out and having a meal together, even the crack and the banter. Yes, it's very serious and the clock's ticking, but there's the social side of it as well.
Yeah, I think it's rather unique to Irish rallying, the social side. Times have changed a bit, because prize givings now tend to be in some of the rallies, that has been in the Ulster Rally for quite a few years, tend to be at the finish of the event. there's a lot of people who have a very busy work schedule, and particularly sometimes in the rallies which finish on Sunday night. There's only one thought in their heads: I have to get home at work tomorrow, and you have to change to that. Now, we're not so bad at Saturday into Sunday, but still, we don't have a formal prize giving in the hotel or anything like that. But again, the flip side of that is, and I remember vividly last year, all the competitors who have won something are there.
They're there to collect their trophies at the time, yeah.
Yeah, and that's good. And great photographic opportunities. And it's very important that some of the guys from down the field were running in maybe the modified, or indeed the historics, that they get recognition, because they will get their prizes on the same ramp that the winner of the overall rally will.
And that's another thing. The modified, the historics, those have got really strong entries as well too, and without them, rallies just wouldn't run. We need every car from car 100 to car 101.
Absolutely, and I'm particularly pleased in the historic because, not wasn't the last rally I did, but I did several seasons, maybe more than that, with Sean Campbell in the historics, and I learned just how much crack you can get out of the historics. It's just the same.
Yeah,
they're all cars.
And those guys now are you're seeing now an average of 15, 20, 30 cars competing in the historics. They are becoming a real mainstay of the full championship now at this stage as well.
Yeah, and there are some rumours that the FIA may change the dates again. I haven't seen it anywhere, or it's rumours, but sometimes they leak these things to see what the reaction is. One of the dangers, if they bring it forward from its currently 1990, is you're starting to get into the electronic era. And I know the FIA don't particularly want that, and that's fair comment, because that is an era that's the preparation of that car becomes so much more difficult, and you're then talking to experts, on electronics and what have you. So I believe they'll find the right solution.
Yeah, and it's scary. I don't know. I'm of an era. I find it scary that they think a Group A car is historic. So.
Yes, you're quite correct, because the early Group A cars are running in the championship. The Subaru Legacy, am I right? Yes, the Legacy. Yeah, because it is homologated. It's still the word we probably use. The FIA call it differently. They call it it has to have an historic technical passport. But when you study that passport, it's really the evolution of the original homologation papers.
Yeah, and then going back now to the Ulster, I suppose, if anybody wants to get involved, if they want to get along, get marshalling, I suppose Ian Connolly is the
Ian Connolly, yes, is definitely the man. He's the chief marshal, and he will know if anybody's interested in helping out, which stages may be suffering a little bit of a shortage or whatever. And he can say, look, you need to go to such and such a stage, meet the stage commander there, and he will allocate you your position. So it's quite a simple process, but Ian's the man, and you can provide, I'm sure after this interview, the contact details.
Yeah, or even go onto the Ulster Rally Facebook page. There's some great details there as well. Yeah. And then, I suppose, kind of wrapping things up, 5 stages and 5 tough stages, real classic stages, names that are synonymous with rallying in Northern Ireland, they're names that go right back to that whole history we talked about of the Ulster Rally, the Circuit Ireland names that, that you don't have to, drivers will know that this is a challenge.
Very much so, and I think I noticed somewhere an interview with Keith, and Keith said something about a one-day rally. He just said, look, you have to go flat out from the very first metre of the stage.
Yes.
Nobody knows that better than him, but it's the same for the rest. They have to do it. There's no point in seeing, hitting back and say, I wonder how so-and-so will. I'll have a go when I see what his time is. That won't work.
No, those days have gone now. Every rally now, there's no bedding yourself in, there's no taking it easy. If you have a spin, if you have a puncture, the victory's gone. It's not almost impossible to claw back time.
You've seen it so often. People make mistakes. They're human. Puncture is the dreaded one, because even if you get to the end of the stage, you probably lost time. And it's very hard to get that back on a single day rally.
And I suppose, like anybody that's going along on the day to spectate, obey the marshals. There's maps online as well too for anybody that wants to.
Yes,
look
indeed.
up and
Yeah.
that's where
But there, and as usual, I would make the sort of mandatory comment. Those who want to come and spectate, please obey the marshals. They're there not only for the safety of the rally cars, they're there for your safety. They say, please don't stand there, it's prohibited or whatever. Don't argue. Please follow the marshals because they're well trained and the route is well laid out in terms of safety. The marshals, as they come to each junction, they will have a little map of the area and they can see exactly where the tip should be, and they make sure that's right, and then where any notice is saying prohibited area. So I always make that appeal. Spectators, please follow the marshals. They're fans like you. They're the same. They wouldn't do it if they weren't fans of motorsport, but they want to keep it safe.
So thanks very much there to David, and best of luck to everybody now competing in the Ulster now at the weekend. So Connor, that is the first episode back after the summer break. Good to be back.
Listen, it's great to be back. We all love our rallying, and it's lovely to be able to talk and get to talk to people involved in it as well. So it's great. And just, I suppose, one other event this weekend, the next round of the ERC. So we have Owen Tracy and John Armstrong are competing in the Barham Czech Rally.
Yeah, it's always a fantastic rally, and probably one of the ones closest to the kind of what we have here in Ireland, the choppy tar and all too. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting just to see how all that pans out, and best luck to John and Owen out there as well this weekend. So that's us back once again, and until the next time, take care, speak soon, and bye.